There's a frustrating stage in piano where something like that feels manageable, but the music you actually want to play feels like a completely different world. And that gap can be very discouraging because you're not quite a complete beginner anymore, but you also feel like perhaps you're not good enough to call yourself an intermediate player. If this sounds familiar, you're probably in what I call the awkward stage. In this video, I want to show you 5 signs you are in this awkward stage and what to do with each of these signs so that you can move past it and level up. Sign number 1 is that easy pieces just don't satisfy you anymore. At the beginning, simple pieces feel okay because everything is new. You learn where the notes are, you know how to move your hands, and you finally feel like you're playing a piece. But after a while, these beginner songs start to feel a bit too basic. You might think, well, I can already play it. Why do I have to keep playing this? So what do you do here? My first fix for today is make your beginner pieces sound less beginner. I'll leave you with 2 quick questions. Can you play this piece in a completely steady rhythm? That means you can whip out your metronome. Can you play it in a completely steady way? It's likely you know the notes, but it's another thing to play it perfectly in time. Question number 2 for you. Can you play the right hand louder than the left hand? Now, for most of your pieces, your right hand is going to be the melody and the left hand plays the accompaniment. If you're in the beginner stage, when you play a piece like that, it might sound something like this, where the hands don't have any differentiation in sound levels. As a little game for yourself, I want you to try to play the right hand louder than the left hand. Something like this. You can literally feel it in the sensations. The left hand is more like just touching the keyboard, and the right hand is actually pressing down at the keyboard. But because many easy pieces start to feel a little bit boring, many learners jump into a piece that they actually want to play, and this creates a little problem, which leads me to sign number 2 here, where the harder pieces feel impossible to play. A learner might go from, let's say, Ode to Joy to, let's say, something like that. I heard this on YouTube and I really love the sound of it, the Waltz in A minor by Chopin, and think, gee, why is this so hard to coordinate? I thought I was improving. But the reason this piece or any piece might feel difficult to you at this stage is not because the piece is testing one skill. This harder piece is actually testing many different skills that potentially are not mastered yet. So for example, this piece has a lot of jumps. If you haven't played many pieces with these jumps are going to feel unfamiliar. If we stay on the left hand, we see that the left hand has a lot of chords. Chord. Lots of these different shapes. Now, if you haven't played pieces with many chords, this also will feel unfamiliar. If we go to the right hand here, we have a little ornament here. We have a little grace note. Now, if we just add all these things, right? If you're, let's say, unfamiliar with leaps, unfamiliar with chords, and not very familiar with grace notes and ornaments, putting them all together might feel overwhelming. So what's the solution here? The solution for this second sign is that I want you to pick pieces that stretches just 1 or 2 skills at any one time. So for example, if your left hand feels weaker to you for now, you can choose a piece with, let's say, a left hand repeated pattern that has a simpler right hand so that more of your brain can focus on the left hand. Or let's say you feel like currently you want to improve on your rhythm. Your rhythm is a little bit weaker. You can choose a piece with, let's say, a simpler rhythm, but with a very kind of like obvious and steady pulse. Let's say hand coordination is currently a problem. You can choose a piece where the hands are moving in very predictable patterns, not too many places where like right and left hand need to come in at very different points. And once you choose a better piece for your situation, the next issue is knowing how to practice it, which leads me to sign number 3. You practice, but you don't know what to fix. You play a piece, you make a mistake, and you go back and you try again. You make the same mistake and you try to go back again. And you're thinking, I just need more practice. So for example, in this very starting bit, let's say I'm always making an error here. Well, what actually is a problem? I always make a mistake here in the second bar. There are a few things I'm thinking about if I see a student make this mistake non-stop. It potentially can be a right hand problem. Maybe the right hand doesn't really know the notes quite yet. Maybe the student also potentially doesn't quite know maybe the left hand yet, the left hand on its own. The exact jump and the exact preparation before striking. Maybe potentially it's a coordination problem. Maybe they know the left and right, but putting it together is an issue. This leads me to the solution for this third sign, which is you want to actually name the problem or diagnose the problem before you start to repeat and practice that part. Here are a few things I think lots of my students make mistakes on, and it could sometimes be a combination of these few things. Maybe take a screenshot of some of these problems that could come up in your practice. It could be notes, rhythm, fingering, hand coordination, jump, tension, or pedal, or a certain transition. Don't just say like, oh, this part is bad, and I just need to repeat it again and again. I'd rather you use more descriptive language. For example, you can say something like, the rhythm here is unstable. Or you can say here, oh, my left hand there is too loud. Or you can say, oh, my right hand here gets quite tensed. Once you name the problem and diagnose the problem, you'll know what to practice. So for example, if the problem is with rhythm, you might need to start to count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Counting out loud helps with keeping the pulse. So in this stage, you can't just have effort. You can't just practice blindly. You need that diagnosis and strategy for what you're doing on the keyboard. But I find that if my students and subscribers don't know how to assess and diagnose the problems they're having with the pieces, they fall into this next trap, which is that you keep jumping between pieces. This is very, very common where you start many pieces, but you never finish any of them. You know, in the middle section of this Chopin waltz, as we usually get into the middle section of a piece, progress slows down. Maybe it's also that I find some students find that they like the start of a piece better. As it gets to the middle, maybe they haven't heard it as much on YouTube or Spotify. And that motivation kind of goes down and they like eventually just go to another piece and then learn another piece. I think adult learners know that this is not ideal. So the solution for this is to finish smaller pieces. Choose pieces that are not super duper long. Choose these projects that you can finish. You can finish within, let's say 2, 3, or 4 weeks. And you can say, I can reasonably play this if I just give it some practice. Starting these harder pieces but not finishing them makes you feel really ambitious and motivated at the start. But I'll tell you for sure that finishing suitable pieces will make you a better player. A lot of these learners jump between different pieces. They get stuck in this stage for a long time. And I think it leads people to believe something that is very, very tragic. You think that the problem is talent. You start to think things like, well, maybe I started too late. Maybe I'm not a prodigy. Piano is harder for me than everyone else. But often, can I just tell you that is not the real problem. You're just in a transitional stage where your taste in music and your standards and your ears have increased, but your hands are not increasing at a rate that's at the same pace as everything else. What this means is you can hear more problems, you notice more details, you know what good and bad playing sounds like, but your fingers haven't fully caught up yet. That takes time to practice and build. My solution for this one is instead of tracking just what kind of songs you're playing, I'd rather you track what I call these bridge skills. Track these bridge skills that bridge you from beginner to intermediate. So for example, one of these questions could be, can I play with a steadier rhythm? With the metronome, can I keep the beat a little bit better? Can I play with less tension? Can I identify and diagnose mistakes and fix them? All of these skills within any pieces transfers very, very well to your next piece, I guarantee you. Can I finish pieces more consistently? Can I keep the melody louder than the accompaniment? Can I coordinate my hands with a little bit less effort? All of these are signs that you are improving, even if you're not immediately playing harder pieces. So the key line for you here is that you don't need talent. I think you just need better evidence that you're improving. And often it's a little bit hard to assess that when you see and hear yourself every single day. If you're not sure what level you're at in piano or what to play next, feel free to download my free PDF, The Essential Piano Roadmap. It has a list of pieces that I recommend with all of my heart to my students on what to play for any kind of skill you're at in piano. I guarantee you this is a roadmap you want to keep along. It's free, download below in the link. If you're someone that can relate to this awkward stage in piano, leave me a comment. What are some of the questions you're dealing with right now? Catch you in the next tutorial.